So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. There were some pre-submitted admissions questions, and I would like to answer those before I start the financial aid presentation. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Okay, so there was a question about is there different TASC scores that are required for each senior college, and what are the cutoffs? With the exception of Brooklyn College, the BC Bound program, they have a score of 2,700 or better, where they will invite students to apply and be admitted with, some stipulations with them passing the English and also the mathematics courses and pursuing their bachelor's degree. No other four-year college has in fact given me a high school equivalency cutoff. So what I am recommending to high school adults who are interested in attending a four-year college is that you could possibly inquire with the following four-year colleges, which admit adult students who are 25 years of age or older. And also, these colleges will provide a more flexible admission criteria than the traditional requirements. So Lehman College's adult degree program is one. And I spoke to the representative, and she indicated that they don't necessarily look at the high school equivalency scores so stringently, but they do in fact ask individuals to provide a personal statement. And I trust that the personal statement gives the college an idea, the adult degree program, an idea of your readiness to do an English composition course. Another program would be the Queens College's Adult Collegiate Education Program. They may also entertain students who are thinking about going to a four-year college who have in fact received their high school equivalency diploma. And again, 25 years of age or older. So a personal statement, as Ms. Bax is indicating, talks about your strengths, your areas of improvement, and possibly what your aspirations are as far as getting a college degree. Okay, Mr. Appleton, the next slide. Okay, so to continue on, I need to let all adult students who are successfully completing the high school equivalency that you are guaranteed admission into a community college. You can start at the community college completing 30 college credits, or either you can get your associate degree. At the community college, there is academic support for you. And upon completion of the 30 or the 60 credits with the associate, you can then transfer to the four-year college where your credits from the 2-year are added on to the additional 2 years at the four-year college to receive your bachelor's. Your high school test scores are just one of several components used during the admissions process. If you're applying to a four-year, you also have to meet, the academic requirements of the college, which includes what you've completed in high school, those academic subjects, the units, if they were completely completed, and also the grades. And this would be for individuals who are educated here in the US. Four-year colleges generally expect students to have completed, high school work that includes full college preparation. They're looking for the 4 years of English, the 3 years of math and social studies. They're also looking at the lab sciences and a foreign language. And oftentimes we as high school equivalency applicants and successful completion of the high school equivalency, we may not have all of this. And as a result, we may not fit the criteria that the four-year college wants initially. The colleges do in fact realize that the high school is a compressed version of 4 full years of high school. So if you're lacking any of these, or areas. Please note that the application will in fact be considered, but the more rigorous your high school curriculum was, the more options you will in fact have as far as being admitted into, the four-year college. All right, next slide, Mr. Appleton. So another question that was raised is, how is it determined if a student will be placed in CUNY Start, co-requisites, or either college level math and English college level courses? Still, I have not received any clear, definitive answer based solely on the high school equivalency scores. However, all students who are taking the TASC are asked to also include an official copy of their high school transcript or copies of their original transcript from their country in the original language and English translation. The university uses an indexing formula to determine a student's readiness for the college level courses. And also to determine if a student will in fact need, additional support beforehand. So the university is looking at the grades that you received and the level of English and math that you completed and passed to make a decision. So if students are required to take co-requisite courses, they will be credit-bearing courses with extra hours of classroom support. The student will only be paying or either using their financial aid toward the regular credit hours. Okay, so let's say hypothetically, you're taking a co-requisite English course. Usually an English course would be 3 credits, 3 hours. But if you're doing a co-requisite, it may be three credits, 5 hours or 6 hours. You will not be charged for the additional 2 or 3 hours. Okay, Mr. Appleton? Mm-hmm. So there was a question that was asked, is there a fee to apply to college? The answer is yes. If you're a freshman, first time you complete a high school only, you can select up to 6 colleges on the application, and the application fee would be $65. If, however, you are a transfer student, you completed some work beyond high school, you can select up to 4 colleges on the application, and the application fee will be $70. Okay, Mr. Appleton? So another question was asked, can I join, and I gather join college and also apply for financial aid if I'm still taking my TASC? CUNY will require the students to have completed their high school equivalency. So they will be asking for a copy of your scores and your diploma in order to be admitted. And the financial aid form will also ask the level of education completed in order to receive aid. So a student should in fact have a diploma or its equivalent. Okay, Mr. Appleton? Okay. Can I get financial aid as a foreign student applying for a master's / doctoral program in psychology? Unfortunately, if I already have a bachelor's degree, a 4-year degree, inside the United States or either outside of the United States, I will not be eligible for the federal Pell grant. The New York State grant, TAP, or the Excelsior Scholarship. These awards, these grants and awards are primarily for undergraduate students who are working towards their associate or their bachelor's degree, or if you will, a student who is applying for the very first time to get either that 2-year or the 4-year degree. The student may in fact be eligible, okay, on the master's and doctoral level. They may in fact be eligible for work study, and they may also be eligible for federal loans, which need to be paid back. When we're talking about foreign students, I need for students who were educated outside the United States to realize that you must be a permanent resident or have refugee or asylum status granted to qualify for federal aid. So if I'm on an F1 visa, I'm on a temporary visa, or like a visitor's visa, I will not be eligible for the federal aid. Okay, Mr. Appleton? Okay, so another question was if I wanted to want to study for interior design, massage therapy, or medical assistant, how much will it cost, and how can I pay? So CUNY doesn't offer a degree in interior design. Okay, what you may want to do is go to the State University of New York, SUNY.edu, because the college, the FIT, does in fact offer interior design, which is part of the SUNY system, Fashion Institute of Technology. Massage therapy is offered at Queensborough Community College as an associate degree. So that would require about 60 credits. Medical office assistant is offered at Bronx Community as an associate degree with 60 credit requirement. Medical assistant is offered at Queensborough as an associate degree. Medical office assistant is also offered at Queensborough Community College as a certificate program, 30 college credits. Now, to answer the question, how much is it going to cost? Tuition at a two-year college is $4,800 per year, or it will be $210 per credit. And this would be the tuition. But in addition to the tuition, students will have to add on the cost of books, student fees, technology fees, and consolidated fees, which are which are billed to a student, from the college. And also, we would recommend that you apply for financial aid to determine if you are in fact eligible, and if so, this can help you pay, for your college degree in massage therapy or medical assistant or medical office assistant. Okay, Mr. Appleton. So if a student has been educated, if they have educational credentials from another country, does this impact their financial aid? Yes, it does. Is it better to apply as a transfer? You must, rather than a freshman. So let me just stress this. If a student has a bachelor's degree, they will not be eligible for the federal Pell Grant. They may, however, be eligible for the New York State grant, TAP, if they meet the income guidelines and the residency requirements set by New York State. If a student, however, wants to complete a degree that they started and did not finish in their country, they may in fact apply. And under no circumstances, please, under no circumstances should a student who has done work beyond high school apply as a freshman. If you have done even one course beyond high school, you're considered a transfer student. Students who apply incorrectly can be penalized for not providing accurate and complete information on their admissions application form. Okay, Mr. Appleton? Okay, so there was a student that said, I just want to know how much my school registration fee will be and where I can submit the payment. I'm a transfer student and would like to register for classes for the summer of 2021. So CUNY processes applications for the fall and spring semesters only. The fall printed deadline date was February 1st, but we are still accepting applications as we speak. The spring deadline date will be September 15th. If you have applied for the fall term, fall of 2021, and have received an acceptance notice to a college, you may ask that college if you could begin to take classes during the summer. You should also have applied for financial aid. And once you have met with an advisor and register for classes, you will receive a bill informing you of your balance, if there's any balance. Okay, because of course the financial aid, in fact, will, if you're eligible for the financial aid, the college will in fact know exactly how much Pell money you're going to be getting, how much TAP money you're going to be getting, or either aid to part-time study. Okay. Okay, wonderful. All right, thank goodness. Okay, so We're going to, as I had indicated, we're going to cover quite a bit and everything, so I'm not going to rehash that. So what I want to do is just state that, financial aid is money that's awarded to a student, from various sources, okay, to help pay for the college course. Financial aid could be need-based, meaning based on your income, it will in fact determine exactly, how much money you'll be getting, or it could be merit-based. So sometimes individuals will in fact be applying to scholarships to determine their eligibility. In addition, financial aid can help with direct costs, which would be the tuition, the student activity fees, the technology fees, and also indirect costs, which could be books, transportation, etc. In addition, students will in fact realize that, financial aid can come in several packages. So students can receive grants, they can receive work study, they can also receive loans, if it is in fact necessary, as well as scholarships. So the sources of financial aid come from a number of areas as well. Number one, college savings from you, the student yourself. You'll find that this presentation incorporates a lot of information that can in fact pertain to students, your children, as well as you. And so that's why you'll see where it says from you, the student, or either your parents or either the relatives and so forth. Money can come from also the federal government by way of grants, work study, federal direct loans. And if parents are in fact going to school at the same time that their children are going, the parent may in fact want to take out a parent loan, to help their child as well. New York State will provide both grants and also scholarships. And also scholarships can come from private funding. So businesses, foundation, clubs, organizations, and also unions will in fact be willing to provide individuals with money, okay, to help them pay for college. And also the institution itself may in fact be offering students money to attend their college. So the types of financial aid are as follows: grants, and there's money coming from the federal government, and the largest grant that students could possibly receive is called Pell. Okay, this is from the federal government. Then there's the Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. From New York State, there is the TAP application, the Tuition Assistance Program. And also for individuals who are going on a part-time basis, there's aid to part-time study. We do in fact have category number 2, which is work study. We have the third category, which are loans. They could be direct loans or either plus loans. We have scholarships, and we have institutional aid. So just to elaborate a little bit, the federal Pell Grant can provide a student who is eligible for the full award up to $6,495 a year. And this amount has in fact been increased for the 2021-2022 academic year. This, because it's a grant, does not have to be repaid. Now, this grant is divided in half. So a student will be receiving half of it in the fall term and the other half in the spring. Federal work study is money from the federal government, and it's money earned from a job that's provided by the financial aid office. If you're interested in work study, you will select yes on the FAFSA application form. It is part of your financial aid package, and it does not interfere with your package, the amount of money that you'll be getting from the grant. The federal government gives institutions funds, and the institutions will offer those students who express an interest in doing work study a job either on the campus or either off the campus to work that amount of money off. Students are paid on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis, and the money that they're getting is not a whole lot, but it does in fact help with transportation and perhaps books. Now, I'd like to just caution adult students who have a job, do not leave your job for work study. Work study is a limited amount of money, and it does not take care of the tuition. It can only be used primarily for, let's say, transportation and books. It's a nominal amount of money. It's not enough, to turn around and take care of the tuition that's going to be required by the college. Federal direct loans can be either subsidized, meaning the federal government is paying it while you're going to school, or it could be unsubsidized, meaning that the interest is in fact accruing. These are loans that you are borrowing money from the federal government, and you as the student are required to pay this money back with interest. New York State has the tuition assistance program. This is a grant that provides qualified New York State residents to receive funds. And it can in fact vary, and students can receive, if they're eligible for the full award, they can receive up to $51.65 for the academic year. And again, this money is divided in half for the fall, half for the spring. Students who are going part-time can also qualify for aid to part-time study. So this is a grant for those students who are attending school part-time. So scholarships, again, are monies that don't have to be paid back, but certainly students must apply for scholarships, and the individual who is granting the scholarship will in fact be asking you for certain things to do. They will give you a deadline date, and they will also let you know exactly how much that scholarship will be worth, and how it could possibly be used towards your education. I have in fact provided Ms. Brandt and Mr. Appleton with scholarships specifically for students who are undocumented, as well as for those students who are New York State residents, etc. And what I would ask you to do is to take a look at the websites and investigate to determine if you are going to be eligible for the program, and then apply to see if you're going to be a recipient of that scholarship award. Institutions will in fact sometimes provide students with grant money or either scholarships. And so students can in fact apply, or either it could be given to them automatically upon acceptance at the college. So there are additional New York State scholarships, primarily by visiting the website Higher Education Services Corp.ny.gov. You can in fact see the other possible scholarships that you may in fact be eligible for that can help you with your college course. Loans, as I indicated, can be subsidized or either unsubsidized. Again, loans will in fact be hopefully a student's last resort, but if a student is making a substantial amount of money, according to the federal government, then the loan will be unsubsidized, meaning you will be paying that interest while you're going to college. Whereas if I am not making that much, but I am not receiving an adequate amount of Pell or either TAP, I may have to take out a loan, okay, to complete some of the outstanding balances that need to be paid for the academic year. So there were questions about, what is the tuition? How much does it cost, to attend college? CUNY is a public institution, and these are our current rates. However, if a student is applying to a private college, the tuition may be a little more than what CUNY is charging. So what I'd like you to do is to take a look at the tuition that a student would in fact be paying, who is attending CUNY. So if I'm going full-time at a four-year college, the tuition that I pay per year will be $6,930. This is divided in half for the fall, half for the spring. And this would primarily be if I am a New York State resident. Okay, I've been here for at least a year or more. If I'm attending a two-year college, the tuition is less. It's $4,800 per year. If I am going on a part-time basis, taking less than 12 credits, less than 4 classes, then I will be paying $305 per credit. So if I'm taking, let's say, just 2 classes and each of them are worth 3 credits, that would be 305 times 6. If I'm going at a 2-year college, the tuition will be $210 per credit. So again, 210 times 6. In addition to the tuition, okay, I will in fact be paying, those student activity fees, the technology fees, the consolidated fees. If I am an out-of-state resident, because sometimes we do in fact have individuals who may be on a temporary visa, a F1 visa, they will in fact, or let's say they're living in New Jersey, okay? You will be paying the out-of-state fees, which is to the far right, okay? And you can see that there is a drastic difference in the price of the tuition. $18,600 per year if I'm going full-time, taking 12 credits or more, or either $620 per credit if I'm going on a part-time basis, or either $320 if I'm going on a part-time basis at a 2-year. So if I am a New York State resident, then I will be looking at the middle panel, okay? That will be the tuition. But in addition to the tuition, there will in fact be other expenses that I will have to consider. So most colleges, and I should say all colleges, will in fact have a college budget. So a couple of questions were asked, how much would books be? And transportation and personal expenses and so forth. So this will in fact vary depending on the college that you are going to. We have in fact estimated, most of our 2-year and our 4-year colleges, we've estimated, and it may in fact be a low ball, books and supplies to be about a little over $1,300. Transportation, if the metro, if MTA increases, the fare, then of course it's going to hike. Lunch, outside of the household, personal expenses, room and board. We're taking all of this into consideration, and this would be for, let's say, a student living at home. Now, quite frankly, this will in fact be totally different, according to each student and their household. But this is what the college is estimating. All right, so you can see where the grand total is. I think it's like 10,000 or so. So this, in addition to, okay, the tuition, will give you sort of like an idea of how much it will in fact cost you per year. This would be for an individual living away from home. And as you can see, the personal expenses and the housing is slightly higher because the individual is living away. These are the budgets that we have for students who are attending LaGuardia Community College and also Gutman, living at home. These are the budgets that we have for individuals attending LaGuardia and Gutman that are living away from home. And this is at Kingsborough Community College, living at home, and at Kingsborough Community College, living away from home. Most adult students will in fact be living at home. So those figures, okay, which can in fact be viewed in a little more detail and at a slower rate, can be viewed on the CUNY website by going to the financial aid segment. Eligibility for federal aid. So students need to be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen. When I talk about eligible non-citizens, I'm talking about a permanent resident who has a green card, a student who has in fact been granted refugee status or either asylum status. They have to have a valid Social Security number. Males who are 18 years of age to 25 must register for selective service. Oftentimes, we do in fact have males who have entered the United States after the age of 25. They will have to contact selective service and fill out a form indicating why they had not registered between 18 and 25. And clearly submitting when they enter the United States will be by way of their permanent residency or other documentation will be valid enough for selective services to approve the student to receive federal aid. Students have to have a high school diploma or its equivalent, or either pass the aid to benefit exam. And this would primarily be for individuals who have degrees, high school transcript outside of the United States. If we are in fact receiving our high school equivalency diploma, that will not apply. You have to be enrolled in a degree or a certificate program that is acceptable by the federal government. This includes vocational schools and also vocational schools and those certificate programs. Now, we talked about certificate programs not being eligible for financial aid, but some certificate programs can in fact be applied to a 2-year degree. So some of the coursework that you have in fact taken can be transferred into a 2-year college where you can receive the associate degree. You have to also demonstrate financial need, and this is by way of income. You can't be in default of a federal loan or owe any money to the federal government, and you have to make satisfactory progress. Okay, this is for federal aid, Pell, the Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, work study, and also for the loans. For New York State, a student has to be, again, U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen. You have to be a resident of the state of New York. Now, oftentimes we have dependents. If anyone in the audience is less than 24 years of age, their parents' income comes into play on the financial aid form, as well as the student if they have some income. And the parent also needs to be a New York State resident in order for the student who is a dependent on the parent in order to receive, federal aid. Students have to be registered as a full-time student for TAP, for the Tuition Assistance Program. They have to be admitted into a degree-bearing program. They have to register and make satisfactory progress, towards their intended major. And students can receive up to 8 semesters, the equivalent of 4 years. If a student is in special programs like the SEEK program, or the HEOP program or the EOP program offered at the state university and also private colleges, they can receive an additional 2 semesters. And the award can in fact range, up to $51.65 per year. So students who are undocumented, unfortunately, cannot apply for federal aid, which is the Pell, the Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, federal work study, or either federal loans. But they can, in fact, visit the website highereducationservicescorp.ny.gov/dream. The Jose Peralta New York State DREAM Act allows undocumented students and other students access to New York State administered grants, TAP, Aid to Part-Time Study, the Excelsior Scholarship, and other scholarships and other grants that support their higher education course. If students have in fact attended an approved New York State High School Equivalency Diploma program, or they received a New York State Equivalency Diploma, they may in fact be eligible for state financial aid. The only way you will know if you qualify is to go to the website to view the eligibility, okay, to determine if you do in fact meet any of that criteria. And if so, please apply. The DREAM Act does in fact open up the doors for higher education and provides access to students to help them with their college course. Now, in addition, and I had said a little earlier, I had sent Ms. Brandt and also Mr. Appleton a list of scholarships specifically for undocumented students and also for those students who are New York State residents. I would encourage all of you to go to those websites and find out exactly what they would like you to do when the deadline date is, and view exactly how much you could possibly receive, okay, by way of those scholarships in order to help you with your college course. I'll stop here to ask if anyone has any specific questions, and if not, then I'll continue on.
There are some questions in the chat.
Okay.
So there is a question from Christina Hester.
Mm-hmm.
I want to enroll in Auburn University.
Okay.
Are all states different for when applying for financial aid?
So the FAFSA application form, the free application for federal student aid, is straight across the continental US of A. Auburn University, where is that located?
Christina?
It's in Alabama.
Okay, so because it is out of state, you will only be able to apply for the Pell Grant. You will not be able to take the New York State grant with you. You cannot take TAP out of the state. So you will not be able to apply for TAP, only for Pell, by filling out the FAFSA application form. You may want to find out from the college that you're thinking about going to if they have individual institutional aid, and if this aid will be given to you every single year, or is it just given to you initially to get into the school. Please bear in mind that because it's out of state, you will be paying out of state fees. So you will not be paying the in-state. Okay. Unless, of course, you are over 24 and you will establish 1 year's residency in that state. Otherwise, it will always be out-of-state fees that you will be paying. In addition, if you do not have off-campus housing, you will be on the campus, and that will be an additional expense for room and board and meal plans. So you really, really need to investigate exactly how much will it cost you per year. Now, bear in mind, the maximum amount of money a student can get from Pell is a little under $6,500 per year. So if the tuition exceeds that amount, the question would be, how am I going to get the balance of the money? So in this case, you may have to entertain taking out a loan. Okay. All right.
Kate had a question. Kate,
okay.
Ask. Kate?
Sure. Yeah, I wanted to know if a student is under 24, but they're independent, do the same criteria apply to them?
So The federal government says if you are less than 24 years of age, you are dependent upon your parent. The exceptions to the rule will in fact be if the student is in foster care, or if the student has his or her own budget, receiving public assistance, if both of the parents are deceased, if the student has shown that they are homeless or at risk of being homeless without the parent. If none of these apply, then the student unfortunately is going to be obligated to get the parent's income in addition to their income if they are in fact working.
Okay. So Tawana Shaw says she has actually 3 questions.
Okay.
She wants to know about the SEEK program. She wants her associate degree, and she wants to know how soon after the TASC test can I apply for college?
So information about the SEEK program, how soon after the TASC, and what was the third part?
Well, that wasn't a question. She said she wants her associate degree.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, all right. So as soon as a student receives his or her TASC scores and diploma, I recommend that you make several copies and frame the original. And at that point, you can apply to college. All right? Okay, automatically. Okay, you can apply. Now, the associate degree, okay, is offered at all of our 2-year colleges, and it is offered at the College of Staten Island, Medgar Evers, and also New York City College of Technology. The SEEK program is an academic support service program that will be looking at a student's income and their academic work to determine their eligibility. The SEEK program is offered at all of the 4-year schools, and its counterpart, College Discovery, is offered at the 2-year colleges where you can receive your associate. Now, the program closes up very quickly. There are more students who could benefit from the SEEK program and the College Discovery program than we can actually admit. But the fact that you are, in fact, receiving your high school equivalency diploma tells us that you are academically eligible to apply to the program.
Okay, so the next question, I got one more.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. And on the application itself, the freshman application, they will in fact be asking, are you interested in the SEEK program? You ought to check yes, okay?
Yes.
All right, go right ahead.
So what if like at this time, I'm getting unemployment. So
Okay.
if I go for it now,
Mhm.
I'm looking for employment, but right now I'm receiving unemployment. So I passed when I take the test, I know I'm gonna pass the test. So once I pass the test, I'm ready to apply. They will work with me with my unemployment.
So here's the thing. So you are going to apply, and I gather your question would be, if I'm receiving unemployment, can I get help with the application fee? Is that your question?
Yes.
That you're not asking me that I have in fact surmised? So, okay. So here's the thing. If you in fact, and this would be for any student, if you are in fact experiencing financial difficulty, email me, okay? And I will, after you filled out the application, when you fill out the application, you're gonna say pay later, okay? You contact me with your application number. Let me know exactly what the situation is. I'm receiving unemployment, unable to pay the application fee. Can I get it waived? And then I will move forward with having it done.
Oh, thank you. I'm
Okay.
glad I asked that question. Thank you.
No problem at all. Now, with that being said, you're immediately going to be doing your financial aid form as well. Because students, please bear in mind, you do not have to wait to be accepted to a college before filling out the financial aid. You do
Okay.
both of them simultaneously, okay? But I'll talk about that a little further on in the slides, okay?
All right, thank you.
No problem at all. Ms. Brand?
Sorry, what's the SEEK program? Because you keep
So the
on
SIG
saying,
so the SIG program is an academic support service program. Oftentimes, students do not meet the criteria dictated by the college, but they may in fact show potential, okay? And they may in fact meet the income guidelines set by New York State. So the SEEK program, for those students who are accepted into a four-year college under the SEEK program, or who are accepted in the college discovery program at the two-year colleges, they get throughout their college life academic support. So they get tutoring, they get counseling, there are seminars, they get a stipend, okay, to help them successfully complete their associate degree or either their bachelor's degree. If a student starts at a two-year college and under the college discovery program, and they graduate, and they decide to transfer to a four-year CUNY college, four-year SUNY college, four-year private college, these programs will transfer with them. Okay, but it will now be named something different. So if I started at a two-year college with the college discovery program, when I transfer to the four-year, I will be in the SEEK program, and I will get that continued academic support, okay, to ensure that I am in fact graduating with my bachelor's degree in the area that I intended to get it in.
Okay, so let's go to Annie Diaz's question. Annie, you want to ask your question?
Yes. My question is, I applied for a PA program already. They start on September. I just need to know if I'm on time to apply for financial aid or not.
Absolutely. You can apply for financial aid right now.
Oh, right. Thank you.
Okay. Again, do not wait to fill out your financial aid. Okay. And I'm going to give you the date as to when you can, in fact, file your financial aid every single year, October 1st. Okay. So October of last year, you could have filed your application for this year.
Oh, all right.
Okay. So
Thank you.
you don't have to wait. Okay. You could go to the financial, I'll give you the websites, but you can go to the financial aid websites and you fill out your financial aid right now, because you want to make sure that that is in place by the time you get accepted to the college. You don't want to be accepted and the college is offering you an acceptance, and then they're allowing you to go and take classes and register and all, and they're going to ask you, well, how are you going to pay for this? And you're saying, oops, I didn't fill out my financial aid. So you fill out admissions and financial aid pretty much at the same time. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, no problem.
All right, and so Myrna said, are you able to file before taking the TASC exam?
Applied for admissions?
Financial aid.
No, you have to have that high school equivalency diploma. Remember, on the well, you may not have come in earlier when I had talked about in order to apply to be admitted into CUNY, okay, you will in fact have to have that high school equivalency score and diploma submitted. And also the financial aid will also be asking you for the level of education completed. So in order to get financial aid, the Pell, the TAP, etc., not only do you have to have the high school equivalency diploma or the equivalent of that, but you will in fact have to meet, the income guidelines set by the college as by the federal government and the state as well. So I would not fill it out until you actually have, that diploma in your hand. And at that stage of the game, there's nothing stopping you from doing so.
Okay.
Ms. Butler, can I ask you a quick follow-up on the College
Yes.
Discovery and SEEK program?
Yes.
Is it true that SEEK will follow if you have already been through College Discovery and you go into a senior college, no matter what the college is, that the SEEK program will follow you, including private institutions?
Yes, and that's what I was referring to. So let's say if I and again, here's the thing, I have to be in good academic standings, okay, and graduate from the college discovery program. And then when I transfer into a CUNY four-year college, the SEEK program follows me. If I'm applying to the EOP program at the state university, there are forms that the college will ask you to get from your advisor, your SEEK advisor, your EOP advisor, your higher educational opportunity advisor, to ensure that you were in good standings. And yes, it will be a continuation to receive that bachelor's degree and receiving the support services. Yes, it is true.
But does it include private institutions?
HEOP is a private, yes, ma'am.
So they could potentially go to Columbia or NYU.
That's true, and receive the and be in the HEOP program.
Thank you.
Now, bear in mind now, financial aid is still an issue. You know, the tuition is still an issue. The HEOP program at Columbia is only providing the student with continued academic support in tutoring, counseling, and a stipend. It is not going to cover, okay, the tuition at Columbia. All right, so students have to realize that it's not the same tuition as CUNY's tuition. The academic support is still there, okay, but a student would still have to be concerned about how am I going to pay for this, you know, to get my bachelor's degree. But yes, students can in fact transfer from college discovery to SEEK, college discovery to the EOP program, college discovery to the HEOP program.
Thank you. Okay, so it seems like the questions have been answered.
Okay, so I'm going to continue on. So just to recap with undocumented, because that's the screen that we're looking at, it's important to go to the website to determine eligibility. And if I am in fact eligible, apply immediately, okay? Once you have in fact received your high school equivalency diploma. Okay, tuition payment plan. So there was a question about the tuition payment plan. So CUNY does have a payment plan. And what we've done is linked with a business solutions called Nelnet. If students want a little more information, I've given you the telephone number. But basically, once a student has in fact applied, been accepted, they will know exactly what their tuition is. It's important for students to apply early. Number one, to save their seat, you know, after they have in fact registered. And the earlier they apply for this payment plan, the lower the monthly payments will in fact be, since the grand total is amount that's financed is divided over a number of scheduled payments. So what you basically want the students want to do is establish a payment plan, you know, based on the grand total of the tuition, the fees, and the anticipated financial aid award. So let's say if a student is receiving tuition, financial aid, but there's still, let's say, a $1,500 gap or a $1,500 balance, the student wants to figure out exactly how can I pay this $1,500, you know, and how much can I in fact pay to have it completely paid off, you know, so that I can register, you know, for the next semester. So students can basically choose their payment method. So it could be by way of an e-check, or it could be by credit card or either a debit card. There is in fact an enrollment fee, so per semester. So if a student wants to do a payment plan, in addition to you making those lower payments, the Nelnet is going to charge an enrollment fee And if you're paying by credit card or debit card, it's going to be $95. If you're paying by check, it's going to be $40. If for some reason the check bounces or the credit card doesn't go through, they're going to charge you $30 for a return payment. So what students who are thinking about a payment plan should in fact do is, once you have in fact been accepted and you've claimed your CUNY First account, they're telling you to go to your account, go to where it says HR Campus Solutions. You want to click on self-service and then go to the student center. Once you've done that, you want to go to where it says finances and select enroll, manage, payment plan. And upon enrollment, your first payment, okay, will include the payment and the enrollment fee. Now, LaGuardia, Kingsborough, and Gutman, they usually will bill you the first of the month, and all other colleges will in fact be billing you the 5th of the month. So for the most part, students who don't have the money all up front to pay for their tuition, and this could be for students who don't qualify at all for grants, or it could be for those students who do in fact have a balance. You can in fact participate in the payment plan. So I really want to get into how financial aid actually, operates. So students need to realize that there is a cost of attendance, but the cost of attendance includes not only the tuition and the fees, the room and the board, and etc., but it also includes the indirect costs, your books, your supplies, your transportation, your personal expenses, your food outside of the household. And those coupled together will be the cost of attendance per year. So it's the direct cost and the indirect cost combined. That will be how much it will cost you to go to City University of New York, let's say LaGuardia Community College, for 1 year, or how much it will cost you to go to Hunter College for 1 year. That's the college, that's the cost of attendance, how much it'll cost you per year. The expected family contribution, this will soon be renamed because they're going to be updated changes with the federal financial aid form. Right now, there are 108 questions on the FAFSA application form. And those questions will in fact be asking a student, information about their income. So the expected family contribution, which will soon be called the Student Aid Index, looks at several components. If you, the student, okay, the adult student, is applying to college and you do not have a dependent, a child who will also be going to college, you will only be using your income and the income of your spouse or your significant other. This income is in fact used to determine the amount of federal financial aid a student may possibly be able to contribute, to the college course. It also, gives the federal government an idea of what a student and his or her family can reasonably contribute, to the cost of attendance. It includes a lot of factors such as the family's income, naturally, the number of people that rely on that income, the number of people that are in the household. It takes into consideration if you have assets, taxes, if there are other extenuating circumstances whereby the income may in fact be relatively low, or either if it's excessive, all right? So financial need is looking at the cost of attendance, indirect and direct costs, minus your income, the expected family contribution. And whatever remains from the expected family contribution from the cost of attendance gives the federal government an idea of how much money you will need to help you pay for college, okay? How much they need to help you with. So it's really the difference between the cost of attendance and what you could possibly contribute. Let me just show you. This is the formula that the federal government is currently using, okay? They're looking at how much will it cost you to go to college? How much can you contribute by way of your income? And if there is anything remaining, the financial need. So the next couple of slides are going to show you an example of the expected family contribution and need, and where there may be no need. So a student is applying to college A, B, and C. And you'll notice that the cost of attendance for the entire year varies drastically. One is 11,000, the other is 30, the other is 60,000. The expected family contribution. So what you're going to be doing is putting your income inside the FAFSA application form. And the federal government is going to be using a formula to determine how much of that money can be contributed towards your college course. For this scenario, they're saying that the family can contribute about $5,000. Now, this may be real or imaginary money to you, because you're probably saying, where did they get that figure from? But again, it's your income put inside a formula, and this is what they're coming up with. Now, a little earlier this week, there was a student who had emailed me to ask how she could possibly apply when her income was already in the system for her daughter. And I had to explain to the student that students who are applying for financial aid will be applying individually. So you, the adult student, may be applying for financial aid, and perhaps your dependent may be applying for financial aid. You are both using the same income because you're living in the same household. The expected family contribution is going to be the same for both of you. It will not change because the income is what it is. In this case, the expected family contribution is deducted from the college course, and there's a financial need of $6,000 for college A, $25,000 for college B, and $55,000 for college C. Now, given what I talked about a little earlier, with the grand total of Pell being about 6,500 and TAP being about 5,165, we're talking about maybe about 11,600, that a student could get per year. So they will be good with college A. But with college B, there will in fact be a shortage where the student may in fact have to entertain getting money, hopefully from the TAP. And again, even getting money from TAP and Pell, it's about 11 grand. So we're talking about 25. So that's still about $14,000. So here a student may in fact have to think about taking out a loan, to help them with that college course. And certainly with college C, they would have to take it out as well, okay? This is a student with no need. So here, the higher the income, the less likely I am to receive a full award. I may in fact receive a partial award, but sometimes if the income is so high, a student may not get any free money, meaning Pell or either TAP, because the income exceeds, what the college, the federal government and the state have set as far as the income limits. So here, again, the tuition is the same, but the income was so high that the contribution exceeded the tuition. And so there is an excess of money. And here the student would not be eligible for any of the aid because the federal government and the state feel that based on the income that they are in fact making, they should be able to contribute. Now, individuals may have a mortgage, they may have high credit card bills, they may have extenuating circumstances, with health issues and so forth. But the federal government and the state will in fact say there is no need for the grants, which are free money, but a student can certainly take out a loan where they would have to pay it back with interest. So financial aid applications have to be filled out every single year. Every single year that you would like to be considered for the Pell Grant, the TAP Grant, the Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, work study, etc., you must fill out the application. And you could begin to fill out the application beginning October 1 of every year. If this is your first time doing the financial aid, you will in fact want to maybe take a snapshot, okay, of the websites, because these are the correct websites to use. It's the free application for federal student aid, fafsa.ed.gov. For the TAP, New York State aid, it's the Higher Education Services Corp.ny.gov. And for those students who are undocumented, who would like to investigate both the TAP and also the DREAM Act, you ought to go to the Higher Education Services Corp.ny.gov/dream. Excelsior is also part of the New York State, but the Excelsior Scholarship requires students to go full-time and complete 30 college credits per year. That might be a bit much for an adult student who has a lot of responsibility. So I would say take it slow, okay? And eventually you will be walking across the aisle with your associate degree or your bachelor's. So gathering your documents. So you will in fact have to get your social security number. If you are in fact married, they want the marital status and also the dates. You will have to get your federal and your state income tax returns, and also your W-2 that should be attached. Any current bank statements, business or investment, mortgage information, your permanent residency card if you're not a US citizen. And if for some reason you were working outside of the country and now you're in the United States and you are now applying for federal aid, you will have to convert your currency that you made for that particular year into US dollars, and you can put that on your application for your income. Also, they will be asking, specifically the state, they will be asking for verification that you are a New York State resident. And so they will in fact be asking you to record your driver's license or either your non-driver's license or a New York State ID information on your application. So the income that we are using on the financial aid forms are as follows. If I am applying for the fall of 2021, which starts in August and goes into the spring of 2022, the end of May, and I'm thinking maybe about going to summer school, I am going to be using 2 years ago's income, 2019. So the federal government is using prior year's income. So these are the years that we will in fact be applying. Oh, and I made a little mistake over here. I do apologize. So this would be 20, 21, 22. We're going to be using 2019's income. If I'm applying for 2022, the fall of 2022, to the spring of 2023, I'm going to be using 2020's income. And if I'm applying for 2023, I'm going to be using to 2024, I'm going to be using 2021's income. So we're never using the income that we, the income tax papers that we just filled out. We'll be using the prior year's income, okay? 2 years ago's income. Now, some individuals were telling me that they, a couple of individuals had said, you know, I don't have a job right now. So what income am I putting in? So again, if I'm currently not working, but if I were working 2 years ago, the income that they're asking for, that's the income that I'm going to be putting down on the financial aid form. Now, quite frankly, the situation has changed drastically. So once the application has in fact been processed and you have been accepted to the college, you are to speak with the financial aid advisor to let them know that this was then, but this is now. The situation has changed drastically. And the financial aid officers at the college can in fact make the necessary adjustments to help you with your financial aid award. Individuals who are on disability, this is not taxed information. So there is a section on the application where you're going to put your income, but it's untaxed. If I'm unemployed, there's a section there. If I'm receiving public assistance, there's a section there. If I am residing with friends or family and I am not working, but they are giving me in-kind support, shelter, food, etc. Okay, I don't have an income, but if they are giving me any cash, that is what I will put on the financial aid application. Now, bear in mind that that cash, because it may be relatively low, okay, will in fact raise a red flag to the federal government and also to the state. And they may in fact be asking you to submit additional information as to how you were surviving with that little income. So getting started, what you will in fact be doing is making a federal student aid ID. It's a username and a password. This will allow you access to log into the financial aid form and also to sign the financial aid form. Don't share this with anyone. You will begin the FAFSA application form. And what we would strongly recommend is that you link to the IRS data retrieval so that the information that you are pulling from the federal government is accurate. Once you have in fact completed the application, we want you to please check the application for accuracy. Print out the summary and also the confirmation page. And on the confirmation page, you're going to scroll down and you're going to link to the TAP application. On the TAP application form, you're going to create you know, a user ID and a 4-digit PIN number, so that this allows you access into the application to sign it. And we also stress that, you know, you provide your license or either your non-driver's ID, okay, and your signature. So we're recommending that you go to the CUNY website and take a look at the 7 steps to fill out the FAFSA application form. You know, the form itself may seem a little daunting and frightening, but actually it's not so bad. What you're going to do is set up your account, your Federal Student Aid ID. The first part is asking for your demographics, your name, social security number, date of birth, etc. Then it's going to ask you, what colleges do you want to receive this information? You can select up to 10. If you are dependent, meaning you're less than 24 years of age, okay, they're going to ask you some questions. And then they're going to ask for your parents' information. But if you are an adult student, 24 years of age or older, you're only going to be answering the questions that apply to you as the student. The financial information, okay, that you're going to be providing, we again recommend that you use that IRS data retrieval tool, because the family income will be imported from directly from the IRS directly to your application. Again, review for accuracy, print out the application information, sign it and submit it, print out the confirmation, and then move forward, okay, to move into the next application. So let me just show you exactly what I'm talking about as far as the IRS data retrieval. So this allows you to leave the FAFSA application form, go into IRS, put in accurate data, and what you have to do is whatever address you filled out your tax forms for that particular year, that is the address that you have to put in the formula. That will be the only way that the federal government, the FAFSA, I should say, can pull from IRS the data and put directly onto your financial aid. So let me just show you. So when you get to the segment where it says you are now leaving FAFSA, okay, on the web, and you will be transferred to the IRS, you're going to click and say, yes, I want to do this, okay? Once you have, they let you know that it's much easier and it's very secure and it's very simple for you to access this information. Here, how your name appeared on the taxes, your date of birth, the social security number, and here, if you used a post office box, then you put that in. But if you did not use a post office box, you're going to put the street, the house number, the street address, whether it's avenue or either street or lane, and you're going to put the apartment number in the designated area here. The country, the city, Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, New York, and also the zip code. And once you have in fact done that, the information is pulled from IRS and transferred onto your FAFSA application form. So upon completion of the FAFSA, you will, view oh, I'm sorry. So a student was asking how quickly could they possibly receive the financial aid award. So with the FAFSA, as soon as you fill out the FAFSA application form, you get to the confirmation page, you're gonna look down a little lower down on the application, and it will give you sort of like an estimation of how much of an award you're going to receive. Whether it's going to be the Pell Grant or either if it's going to be loans. And checking the status of your FAFSA application form, once that has in fact been processed, you can go right back in to the TAP application form using your user ID and your 4-digit PIN number to find out the estimated award that you're going to be getting from TAP. So you can actually find out immediately, within 3 to 5 days, how much you're going to getting from TAP, but you can certainly find out immediately after filling out the FAFSA application form, the estimated award that you'll be getting for the Pell Grant. So with the TAP application, there's a link from the FAFSA application. You'll create your user ID and your 4-digit PIN. You will need to answer a few additional questions. You will use your tax returns to fill out certain questions. You'll sign the application with the appropriate identification, check for accuracy, and print a copy for your record. Okay, so here, if you will, please take a snapshot, because these are the websites as well as telephone numbers to the Federal Student Aid ID, the FAFSA application form for information about student loans, the TAP application, the Excelsior, the DREAM Act, and also a listing of scholarships, general websites that you can go to for scholarships, to see if you could throw your head into the arena to see if you can be a recipient. Okay. I'm going to stop here and ask if there are additional questions about what I've gone over. No questions?
My guess is that everyone's overwhelmed by all this.
I know, and I do apologize. I am so sorry. But bear in mind, if you need help with the financial aid, trust me, I can help you with that. No problem. I have done financial aid over the phone with students. I have done financial aid, online with students. So it's okay. If you have, a concern or a problem, but I do in fact recommend, going to the CUNY website and taking a look at the 7 easy steps. It's a video that shows you exactly and precisely what you're going to encounter when you're doing the financial aid. And after you have in fact done it once, the following year, you'll be doing a renewal. So all of that information that you initially put in, it will be embedded inside the application. And all you need to do is just include the new income. It's not so bad. Once you get started, it's really, really not that bad. Okay. Next year, or in the next couple of years, even though right now there's 108 questions, there will be, according to the federal government, 30 questions that will be required to be answered. So that's a big difference in the application. And I kind of think that that will take away some of the anxiety that students do in fact have, about filling out the financial aid form.
Yeah.
So here's a caution. Do not pay anyone to fill out the financial aid FAFSA or the financial aid TAP applications. They are free, okay? They're actually free. Next steps. After the application is filed, Students, the schools that were listed on the FAFSA application form, they will in fact be receiving your information. Once you have told the college that, yes, I want to come to you, the financial aid office will start preparing that financial aid package, letting you know how much money in Pell, how much money in TAP, how much money in aid to part-time study, or how much money in work study you're going to be getting. And when the processing is finished, you're going to receive a reward. You really need to turn around and review this, okay? And the awards with CUNY, okay, will in fact include the federal and state aid. We do not process students for loans. If you, after receiving the award, you realize that you need to have a loan, you must contact the college's financial aid office at the college that you plan to attend, and they in fact will set you up to fill out the loan application. And there is sort of like not only filling out the application, but a tutorial, letting you know that this money that you are in fact borrowing has to be paid, and etc. So for students who have income that might in fact be questionable, or for students who are inputting their income on the financial aid form, students will in fact sometimes arbitrarily just be randomly selected for verification. And what you're basically going to have to do is present the information that you put on your FAFSA application form to the financial aid officer at the college. So here, a lot of things are, because we're operating remote, students will in fact be uploading this information and sending it directly to the financial aid office of the college that they've been accepted to. Now, if students don't comply with this request, okay, in a timely fashion, they could possibly lose their financial aid. And as a result of losing it, students may in fact their classes may be dropped, but the students may still owe the college money because the courses were dropped and the student did not pay. So you really have to be and try to be on top of all correspondence that you're receiving from the college's financial aid office or the college admissions office, because it could in fact be costly. Okay, so we want you to just read your student aid report. If there are any errors, you can go back into the FAFSA, you could go back into the TAP, and you can make those corrections and resubmit them. Again, I'm sorry, it's a lot of information. I will answer any additional questions. And if you don't want to ask the questions right now, just email me with your questions and I will respond to you.
So yeah, even though it's a lot of information, we really appreciate it. We know that it's much better to know. And a student named Katie Murillo said that you've already helped her out because she may have put her 2020 income in when she should have put her 2019. So it's very good information. It's
Right. So with Katie, all you got to do is just go back in and just go back into FAFSA and click correction and then put the appropriate information in, okay? And if you can, try to use the IRS data retrieval where it will pull the information and automatically put it on your FAFSA application form as opposed to you inputting it yourself.
okay. Okay, so Eric has sent me some questions.
Okay.
That we may not have gotten to.
Okay.
Actually, we did. So Kimberly asks, I want to know if you can be a full-time working person and still receive financial aid.
Yes, you can. There are a lot of students that are working full-time, but again, financial need is going to be based on your income and the number of people that rely on that.
Mhm.
So we have a lot of students that are working full-time, but they may in fact have a house full of individuals that rely on that income. And what we're basically doing is looking at the adjusted gross income. The federal government is looking at the adjusted gross income to determine eligibility, the number of people that rely on that, any extenuating medical bills, etc. So yes, rather than say, I won't qualify, apply and let the federal government and the state tell you exactly if you do or you don't.
Okay, and another question is the TASC diploma only accepted at CUNY schools?
So no, TASC can in fact be accepted pretty much throughout New York State. Um, you will have to ask the college of that you're thinking about attending, what score they are looking for to admit you. But if it is a 2-year college, the mere fact that you have the TASC scores and diploma guarantees you a seat at the 2-year school.